Guys, entry-level white-collar jobs are completely disappearing from the workforce. The entire career ladder has been completely dissembled, and I don't expect that rung is ever going to be put back. In fact, I think more rungs are going to be removed. But don't just take my word for it. This was one of the big topics at Davos this past week, and one of the panels I thought was really interesting was a panel with the Google DeepMind CEO, Dennis Hasabi. And in this interview, he said that they are seeing the beginnings of it impact the junior level of their organization. And this was also mirrored by the Anthropic CEO, Dario Amodei. He agreed and reiterated that the impact on junior roles is already visible in software and specifically coding positions. But again, we're seeing this all across the board. These entry-level jobs are being removed. And, Dario is very interesting. And I just want to touch on Dario here for just a moment because he's been pretty loud and proud about AI removing jobs. His stance is AI is likely to eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs, quote, if unchecked. And he warns that the pace of AI development, possibly even within the next few years, could outstrip society's ability to impact. So here's the thing that doesn't really make sense to me. And he always says, well, if we don't do anything, we don't do anything. But what I don't hear Dario doing is actually giving solutions. It's rather perplexing, to be honest, because he's here pushing Anthropic's really powerful AI model and saying that everyone's going to lose their job and everyone's going to get fired and you won't be able to compete with AI. But I'm just going to keep doing it anyway. I don't put in the comments below. Do you know what Dario's actually doing here? It just seems like he just keeps announcing, hey guys, I'm building this disaster button that's going to replace everyone's jobs and everyone's going to be screwed unless you do something. And it's like, well, you're the one building it and you're telling I don't fully understand that, what is he actually proposing as a solution? Quite frankly, and this is a little bit off track, I don't think AI is going to be as disruptive as that. There's this idea that there's just not going to be anything for humans to do anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. Historically, that hasn't happened, and I try to make decisions based on what's happened in the past. However, I do believe and understand that hundreds of millions of jobs will be impacted and disrupted, and new jobs will be. That's what I think. And that's what we really preach on this channel is you got to upskill. You have to adapt. The stuff that you've been doing in the past needs to change moving forward. But with all that said, this is kind of talking about what's happening in the future, but this isn't just conjecture, guys. This is not just what's happening in the future. This is what's already happening. Check this out. Entry-level job postings are down significantly. A labor market analysis that was recently completed indicates that entry-level postings have dropped 35% since January of 2023. And tech companies are cutting new graduate hiring by over 50% since 2019. I find this really, really interesting. And we've talked about this a lot on the channel too. There was this old idea that, well, you get good grades, you go to college, you'll get the career you want. That is not happening. Guys, that is not happening. And I don't know about you, but I even question, should I keep contributing to my kids' college accounts? I don't even know that college is gonna matter by the time that they're ready in 10 years. What's really jarring is that these university degrees are being completely obliterated in their value to the workplace. Guys, listen to this stat, this is crazy. Bachelor degree graduates aged 20 to 24 have an unemployment rate of 5.7%. That is up from 4.1% in December of 2024. And here's the question. When we check back in, and check in this year-over-year date, what percentage of these college graduates do you think are going to be unemployed when we reach 2026 of December 2026? My guess is that number is going to keep increasing, going from a 4.1% to 5.7%. That's almost a 50% increase in the amount of college graduates that have invested their tons of capital, tons of time, tons of energy into a degree that just doesn't matter. And by the way, this is even despite the fact that 50% of the people that graduate and get jobs don't even need a college degree to get the job. But I say this just to highlight this issue of the career rung being disrupted? Because the reality is that the market is just shifting really, really dramatically. And I have some additional stats here that you'll find interesting. Randstand recently completed a survey. This was reported in Reuters, and I was reading this earlier today. And the results of the survey showed that 4 in 5 workers, 80% of workers, believe AI impacts their daily tasks. But what is even more shocking that we found from this survey is that job vacancies requiring the, quote, AI agent skill have increased 1,587% since last year. So this just kind of highlights this idea that the skills you've needed in the past to get a job are not the skills you're going to need moving forward. And what's I think more interesting here, and to kind of bring things around to our beginning here, is that this entry-level positions are being disrupted. And you might say, well, Mark, we're screwed. I'm in college, or I'm doing a career change. I'm never going to be able to get in at the bottom rung. It's being completely removed. Well, I think what you maybe don't understand, at least from my perspective, is if you can walk the walk and talk the talk, you're going to find that job. So let me kind of explain. When you go to find that position, you need to understand the skills that they're valuing, and certainly AI fluency and the ability, as we can see, to create AI agents is becoming more and more important. And you might say, well, Mark, how do I get a job to learn how to create AI agents if I can't get a job? Well, you don't need a job to start building these AI agents, guys. You can do this on a very limited budget. And you can start building out projects on your own, start building out software on your own, start solving problems on your own. So, when you go to a customer or a client or a potential employer, you can say, hey, this is what I've built. I know how to build this. I know how to use, Claude Coworker. I know how to use ChatGPT. I know how to use automations in Zapier. I know how to do this. I know how to use N8N. I know how to turn text into code with programs like Lovable or Like, you can go in there and say, hey, I already have some of these skills. And not only can I just talk the talk, I can actually show you some of the stuff that I've built. Oh, you like that? You like the way that looks? I could do the same thing for you. Well, let me actually, by the way, before you start selling yourself, you need to understand the pain that they have. Well, what is it that you actually need? Oh yeah, I can do that. You want to build out this custom AI agent for your CRM? Yeah, sure, I could do that. Look, I know how to do that. I would use this program. I've already built that over here. I can build that for you. It'll be 20 grand. You know what I'm saying? You can start to position yourself in that way. And again, the goal here is to learn and to piggyback project after project after project, so you can continue to learn, you can continue to show results. And the other day I posted a video about the creator economy being completely disruptive. I'm a creator, I'm a creative person, I love to create. That's why I'm here on YouTube 6 days a week. Also, I can talk with you guys about AI and the job market instead of driving my wife crazy. But one of the comments was, Mark, you're toast. Like, what are you doing? You're creating all this content. Nobody cares. Everyone's just going to have all the, watch these AI avatars and AI clones. I'm like, yeah, that could very well happen. That's fine. But I'm just going to continue to learn. And I'm going to continue to level up. I'm going to continue to post results, and we'll see where life takes me. I don't know what God has planned for me exactly. But I know that if I continue to apply myself and learn, that I'll be able to navigate that problem of the entry level role being removed. And yeah, I'm not really entry level anymore. I have years of experience doing a lot of different things, but the point remains that moving on to the next project, I don't know what that's going to be just yet, because the world is changing really quickly. And if there's one thing that we can see already happening, is that. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video today. If you liked today's video, you should definitely check out yesterday's video where I talk about how AI is disrupting the insurance industry. And I was in insurance for over a decade. I know quite a bit about it. I was in property casualty. I managed a lot of it. I saw AI impacting things firsthand, but things have changed even further. And so I think that's really interesting. Go check out that video about AI disrupting the insurance agency. I'll see you over there, boys. See ya, peace.